How do you really know your client got the result from your hypnosis session? So what happens in your traditional hypnotherapy sessions? You put the client under, you run them through the induction, then there is some sort of a tool that you maybe have, like a framework, maybe like a healing pool or an arrow technique or whatever. And so you kind of walk the client through the framework, the techniques and tools, but how do you actually know that they had the result? That it is not temporary relief for that moment, because this is what you want to achieve. You want your clients to get the results that they come to you for, right? So in advanced conversational hypnosis, we don't actually leave the things for guessing because we don't have a framework. So we don't actually assume that the client got the result because we took them through the framework, because we put them under, because the results and breakthroughs don't come just because they are under or just because they have had a visualization of getting into a healing pool or of putting the emotions into some balloon and flying them away. So knowing this, you can actually implement that at the end of whatever session you're doing, but be warned, because if they are still feeling triggered and when you ask them these testing questions, it means that your session isn't over. Then what you're gonna do after, if it's not done yet? Are you gonna do more of the healing pool? Are you gonna do more of the deepness and suggestions if the first ones didn't work that well? I don't know. I think you need to come and learn advanced conversational hypnosis from me. So basically the way it works is we test at the end of a session. So let me give you some examples. It is always individual. There are no set questions or set question sets how you test, because it's like it depends on what sort of things came out in the session. Okay, so for example, a client comes to you and they had anxiety in the beginning in certain situations. Okay, they had anxiety, public speaking, or social anxiety, whatever, right? And even while they were talking in the beginning of the session, they were feeling tensed up, and they felt like their hands were sweating, and they felt like the anxiety is in that situation, or maybe the anxiety was triggered by another emotion, okay, like, I don't know, stress, or when they were thinking about the future or whatever. So what you do at the end of a session, when you think that the client found the result, for example, you went through your technique or whatever, and at the end of a session your client says, okay, I do feel much better, I don't feel so anxious anymore, then you have to test it. And the way we test is we ask about the situations where they were anxious before. Okay, so you can go and say, all right, so you don't feel anxious anymore, right? They're like, no. Are you sure 100%? They're like, yeah, I'm sure. And then you're like, all right, how about if I told you now to go and speak on the stage in front of 100 people, like right now? How do you feel about that now? And they can go like, oh, something's coming up. So you have to address that. Obviously, if they go like, no, I'm fine, doesn't matter, whether I speak to 1, 2, 3 or 100 people, I feel the same, then that loop and knot has been undone. Okay. Another testing question you can ask them, all right, okay, so you don't feel anxious anymore in that situation. Cool. What about when you think about your future? Are you still feeling anxious? What's going to happen in like 1 year? You wanted to do all of these things. You wanted to maybe have a baby, whatever. you know, what's going to happen? Do you feel anxious? And they go, actually that baby stuff is still like really, really make me anxious, and I have a knot in my stomach. Okay, then you have to deal with the knot. And when you come into my advanced conversational hypnosis training, I will teach you exactly what to do and how to deal with these things, with the knots, with whatever, you know, comes up. However, if they say, no, that's fine, I'm just, I think I'm letting go of this need to control my future and know everything that's going to happen. You know, I'm just going to enjoy the now, and I feel much more present. You know, that's the resource. That's the resource that they found on top of what they found already in the session. So I hope this makes sense. So I hope it made sense, because I know that some of the methods and techniques out there, especially hypnotherapy techniques, they don't necessarily, you know, reveal all of the stuff about the client. However, you know, you can take these situations from the intake form, you know, if it doesn't reveal and stuff like that. So, however, you know, I have to say that if you want to know exactly what to ask at the end of a session and how to test them and how to be certain that their resource is robust, because this is why we do testing. We make sure that their resource is robust and it's not going to break when they come out of the real life. So if you want to know, you really need to be very present, curious in a session, and you have to be doing ACH, obviously. And you know, because when you are on this journey with a client, when you're intuitively connected to them, when you walk them through the session in this way, you will then know exactly what to ask at the end of a session to test them. So if that made sense, or even if it didn't make sense, but you are curious to find out how you can actually make your work with your clients more efficient and faster, and how you can make sure you are certain with your clients' results, then advanced conversational hypnosis is definitely for you. I encourage you to just drop me a DM or comment under this video, and we can just have a chat, and I can walk you through the method, how it works, and how it could work for your practice.